Let's talk about China's fourth quarter growth slowdown.
I think it's interesting. Slows to 4.5%, the weakest in nearly 3 years. There's a lot of reports of misreporting and misappropriation of information in China, even on growth numbers. I just think it's interesting at this time. Like now, the phase of life in the economy that we're in is really the calm before the storm. The reason why we keep stressing these messages is because we don't want you to get caught off guard in 27 and late 26, right? But if China has such a strong economy like America, why are they changing the reporting structure and the data that's in the reports? That has to be scary. Rashad, you brought up the point. What if the EU starts to dump our bonds? Who was one of the member of BRICS that started to do that? China. So I think it's interesting with all these ghost cities. Now there's more ghost reporting and even ghost population reports that are revising the potential population down maybe 600 million while we're in a global war. So I just thought that was fascinating.
Their population has declined for the third year in a row. Interesting that when you look at their GDP, a large part of it is in industrials. Real estate is kind of inside of that. So like you said, you said ghost cities, and I was like, damn, right? These ghost cities, how many can you now fill, right? But how many have you built? We've already seen chaos inside of some of their companies when it comes to interest rates, when it comes to mortgages, when it comes to the commercial real estate. That's continued. That slows down, but it's a domino effect, right? If you're talking about rare earth minerals, who has a conglomerate that dominates the world? For sure, China, right? But if you can't build, right? If you have the steel and you're not building, then you don't make the money in this steel. And so this is interesting, right? Because what I've seen, and we always talked about this, right? Like China, yes, number 2 in the world. Can they build things at an expedited rate? Yes, but with expedition comes mistakes and comes, like what you said,
quality.
The lack of quality and false reporting. We've learned this lesson. We talked about this in 2020 when I was trying to find that company that was going to be the next Starbucks, and boom, the next day, the books were cooked. I can't trust things that I can't have access to, or at least know someone in the area of concentration. And it's tough to do that a lot of times when you're doing foreign investing. This is definitely a sign that we should definitely keep in mind, because this is a global economy. To have the number 2 presently have these type of numbers and this type of downturn, it could be a sign of bigger things.
Yes, a sign of bigger things.
To China's credit, the whole global economy is based off of Ponzi scheme and cookbooks. They're not even giving out the jobs.
You ain't never lied though. Yeah, they start changing them job report numbers and non-farm payroll. Oh my God.
So they're not the only ones.
Yeah.
Meta, future in the AI era from an investment standpoint. Where is Meta? Had a disappointing year last year. We talked about Meta as far as being a strong company moving forward. Where does Meta's future lay in the AI era?
Once again, I think they've done a great job of investing for the future. Zuckerberg has done a great job of restructuring his focus. But the bigger point I want to make in this race, I do think wherever Meta lands, it is a canary in the coal mine to tell you where the economy is going to go. Like 2022 is different. The investment into the metaverse and Oculus probably wasn't the wisest one, but when the stock is being penalized, when they're making a great investment, it makes me wonder, what do the funds know and those who are in the Bloomberg terminals know that we can't see yet? Then a Netflix 10-to-1 split. I don't like 10-to-1 splits normally. That was a sign. They've fallen. There's been roadblocks in the Warner Brothers deal, which is very fascinating. Once again, Target is down, Nike is down. Some like classic American brands are falling apart. I think the quicker the Meta recovers, the quicker the rest of the economy will do so as an indicator. So if I'm looking for a broader macro indicator, and I'm looking at one company I think is going to be Meta. I don't think the stock should be beat up as much as it is, but I do see a potential of it falling to 574.53. I would like to buy there if it does, and I think the rest of the year would be great for Meta. But I think it's a canary in the coal mine and a sign for what the stock market could do this year, especially with voting coming up in the second half of the year.
I am huge on Meta. I think their approach to AI has been pretty remarkable from a couple of reasons. I think when you look at some other companies in that space, we'll take the Mag 7s, is either they've been a part of it, they've allocated large numbers of CapEx. I think one of the things that Meta has done is they said, let's build the infrastructure first, right? So like we watch Microsoft combined or, buy into a partner with Constellation Energy. Meta said, okay, if we are going to do this AI thing outside of the metaverse, which they admittedly have made mistakes on, they said, let's build physical infrastructure. And so we talked about their data center inside of Louisiana, but they have at least, I think, 6 to 7 more huge data centers that they're building throughout the United States. They have the infrastructure. They went last week and got the power, right? So the Ookla deal and the Vistra deal, that's huge, right?
Yeah.
Now, they have something that most companies don't, and that is a large data set. When you're talking about WhatsApp, when you're talking about Facebook, when you're talking about Instagram, you're talking about a data set of over 3 billion users. 3 billion. There are 8 billion people on the planet. They have a data set of over 3 billion. What can you do with that 3 billion when you now add into AI that can now be incorporated in all those apps? Additionally, there's reports now that they're trying to make WhatsApp more of a business-like situation, kind of reminiscent of what Microsoft has done with LinkedIn, right? When you go international, and obviously you've traveled international, we travel international all the time, it's WhatsApp, it's
mandatory.
It's WhatsApp. It is the universal system of how people communicate throughout the world. Imagine them putting ads inside of that and turning it into its own app and a standalone. There's opportunities there. I think the next piece, and I know the Orient AI or AR is something that people have like kind of said, what's that move about? I think the Meta glasses were kind of that fortune teller of where they're looking to this. I think they look at the future of, I guess, communications, I would say, right? That it won't be in the cell phone form, right? Like the next iteration of what technology will look like. I feel like they think they can be the leader of that, right? Like
and
Google,
the light wearable,
right? Because they have the data, right? They have the technology, and they're willing to spend. I think when Zuckerberg spoke at the last earnings report, I know a lot of people it rubbed them the wrong way. For me, it was like, that's the kind of leader that I would like. Not that I say I'm personally in favor of all the things that Mark Zuckerberg has ever done. That type of leadership is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm willing to commit to this, and even if we overshoot it, we have to, because if we undershoot it, we're going to get left behind and we won't be able to catch up. So I like that mentality. I like what they're doing. We talked about the Manus acquisition, or how they're going to now make AI profitable, where before it was like, and we'll talk about OpenAI. Profitability is a real thing. We got these CapEx numbers. How are we going to make money? They've acquired a company that's going to incorporate money inside of the bottom line. I like what Meta's at. I think they're going to be a strong leader in AI. So I like where they're positioned.
Also, in combination, if you look at Dollar Tree and Dollar General as a recession indicator, Dollar Tree and Dollar General are taking off to the upside as well. So those are 3 companies you can look at to get a feel for where the market overall is going. And Derek, I like your idea about adding a debt clock potentially to the show. But Dollar Tree, Dollar General, and Meta, I think from a publicly traded standpoint, will give us a very good inkling about where the economy is going. Dollar Tree was at 87.97 in October of last year. It's currently at 139.95. I think that's very interesting. The last time that Dollar Tree hit its all-time high was in 2022 when we didn't have that crash.